In the last little bit of PlayStation news before we move on to Xbox, so DualShock 4 controllers will work with select PlayStation 4 games, but they will not work with PlayStation 5 games. Pretty interesting. So if you have a bunch of peripherals and stuff, some of that shit may not be working. You know?
Okay, do you really have to say that last generation's peripherals won't work with the new generation? Is that weird?
Hey, people were asking, man, so they had to make a whole blog post.
What?
Then,
What generation?
But Brett, keep in mind that this includes stuff like probably headsets. Well, they said that the PlayStation headset was included in that. Yeah, headsets, arcade sticks, all of that.
Wait, so
VR as well. VR as well.
Even though that they are all USB based, which is the really confusing thing.
Yeah, that does confuse me. And a lot of microphone has a 3.5 millimeter jack in it, doesn't it?
I have no idea, actually.
I think it just has a regular fucking headphone jack. No, I know for a fact it does. Like
So you mean
the PS3
like the
or
gold-
the PS4 or the PS5?
The PS4.
Yeah, PS4 does.
So I don't know. Yes, that seems weird that some things won't get, but like your headset, yeah, that would be weird. And if they did that, that would mean that they were basically doing a closed ecosystem like Apple bullshit. Like this has to have the special PS4 or PS5 adapter. And fuck that noise. That shit would piss me.
So
right
would the
off.
gold wireless not work?
Nope.
But isn't it
that's
just
crazy.
Bluetooth?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
that's
know what?
just
You know
put it
what?
with a
Let me actually
Oh,
break
no.
it down. Let me actually break it down.
I can break it down
Actually,
even better than you, Tony. Trust me. Like,
I'm just reading. No,
No,
I'm reading the
no,
shit
no.
from the fucking PlayStation, bro.
I
You
can
know?
tell you
And he's saying that we can break it down better than that.
I'm like, okay,
I
you
can
can
tell
break it down better than
exactly what
PlayStation.
bullshit it is.
I'm reading it exactly off PlayStation because you guys are asking a lot of shit that's literally already here. All right, so the first question is which existing PS4 peripherals and / accessories will work on PS5? Specialty peripherals such as officially licensed racing wheels, arcade sticks, and flight sticks will work with PS5 games and supported PS4 games. The platinum and gold wireless headsets, as well as third-party headsets that connect via USB port or audio jack, will work on PS5. The headset companion app is not compatible with PS5. The DualShock 4 wireless controller and PlayStation officially licensed third-party gamepad controllers will work with the supported PS4 games. Both the PS Move motion controllers and the PlayStation VR aim controller will work with supported PSVR games on PS5. So there you go.
Okay, well, yeah, that sounds pretty fucking standard then.
Yeah, but just a quick thing. Will DualShock 4 work with PS5 games? No, we believe that PS5 games should take advantage of the new capabilities and features we're bringing to the platform, including the features of the DualSense wireless controller. And the last question here is the PlayStation camera for PS4 compatible with PS5? Yes, PlayStation camera will work with PS5 for playing supported PSVR games. It will require a PlayStation camera adapter. Oh, there you go, Brett. That will be provided at no additional cost. Okay, to PSVR owners. More details, blah, 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 blah. So there you go.
Nice. Okay. I mean, that sounds pretty standard. I don't know why people are weirded out about that.
Yeah, no one's
I'll tell
weirded
you
out.
why people are.
I think that
I'll tell you
what
why.
they find
I'll
weird
tell
is
you
just
why.
that
Hold on,
the
Adam
DualShock
first, and then
4
you, Riku. Go ahead, Adam.
I think
Let
the
me
issue was
add
because
something.
there was a bunch of issues going on when the PS3 controller with that not fully working on the PS4, and they were like, there was people bitching about it. So they said, all right, well, hopefully going forward we won't have that issue. And it looks like we're still having that issue because there was a shitload of PS4 controllers this generation, some really cool ones, custom ones, and it kind of sucks that you just can't use that unless you're playing your old PS4 games. That it won't even at least work for some of the games, sport games. If you really need to feel those special vibrations and the touch and all that shit, come on now.
Dude, you can't use the Duke on the current gen.
But that's a Duke. That was what I was talking about. First gen to second gen. The 360 controller still worked on Xbox One.
Yeah. All right. Real quick, Brian, you go first, and then Riku.
Okay, so I've actually had a long time to think about this, and yeah, it is pretty much the conclusion is that Sony have had to purposely put in code to make sure that the DualShock 4 will not work with PS5 games, and this is based on the idea that first of all, they have confirmed that the DualShock 4 works with PS4 games on the PS5. That's been confirmed, right? Now, it doesn't make much sense that nothing else on the PS5 will work without the DualShock 4. Meaning that it makes sense that if you have DualShock 4, hooked up to your PS5, you should be able to interact with the system, right? So go to the settings and all sorts. That makes sense, or else that just makes things even worse. So if you have a controller that's able to work with the system and select few games, they've had to put in codes specifically on the OS level to restrict that controller for PS5 games. So they've gone out of the way to make it not compatible.
I don't know about that. I think that's. Here's the thing, because if there are PlayStation 5 games that make use of whatever DualSense features are there, then the PS4 game.
DualSense features?
Who knows? But that's what they said.
And that's the problem.
No, but Brian, my point is, you're saying that they did this specifically. We don't know that. I don't want to just throw that kind of shit out there. Understand? That's speculation at this point. Okay.
If the DualShock 4 controller works with PS4 games running on the PS5, it must mean that the DualShock 4 must work with the PS5 OS on like an OS level.
Yes, I agree with that.
Which means that it has some sort of access through the OS into the game, because that's how the OS works. Again, Chris and Carlos can back me up on that. So so meaning that they've had to specifically tell the OS that if it detects that it's launching a PS5 game and the input is a DualShock 4, to not make it work.
Okay, you know what? I see what you're saying.
That's not automatic.
Yeah, no. You're right. But here's the thing: it should do that because there may be features that the DualShock 4 would not be able to implement on the PlayStation 5 game. Understand? Because you need a DualSense to get those features out. Again, I don't know what those features are. Sony just said there are special features and stuff. So you're right; they do have to manually block that. I agree with that. But there's a reason why. Understand?
And then what if the game has What if the game has 0 DualSense features and is still being disabled?
Yeah, I honestly don't know.
That's bullshit?
No, not really. That's just the way it is. I
actually agree with Tony.
Here's a controller that you can use that you already have that can be used as a second controller.
But again, listen, hold on. If you're buying a PlayStation 5, it's gonna come with a DualSense already. What the fuck do you need your old controller for?
As a second controller.
Buy another one. There you go.
Buy another one if you already have one.
Who doesn't buy another controller? Come on, Brian.
If you already have one, do you buy another one?
Yes.
If you already have
of course, because you want it for your new system.
If you already have a controller that works, would you just go out and buy another one just
If I have one that half worked and didn't support the features of the new system, yes, I'd go out and buy a new one.
Exactly.
It's the same reason I don't buy a PS4 controller without Rumble.
Well, I think
third-party ones.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I could see where Brian's coming from because it does seem it doesn't, like, from a business sense it makes sense for them to lock the PS5 games to support the controller. But from Brian's point, like from a consumer standpoint, it's like, well, I would save myself $60 if you just let my controller work with this game, or if it's 2-player. Let's say. Super Street Fighter 5 or whatever, because Capcom always does that shit. Or Ultra Street Fighter 5, PS5 exclusive. Only can use a PS5 controller with that game. But it's like, I play Street Fighter 5 right now with the DualShock 4. You're not gonna put any DualSense bullshit in there. So let me just give my buddy the DualShock 4, connect, and we'll play Street Fighter. So in that kind of logic, I could see both sides of it, but. I will back up Brian's point that they are. It's on purpose, and it's on purpose because, like, of course they want you to buy the DualSense,
But Chris, that's only one point though. The other point is some games will not work with the PS4 controller.
No, some of course, yeah. Well, those games absolutely. You could go, hey, we have these DualSense features, and we can't make this work. So it's like
I think it's fair to say that the DualSense features will not work with the PS4. There's still everything else. Again, it still has analog sticks, still has the triggers, still has the buttons, still has the 6 axis, still has the touchpad. So like 80% of it will still work. It's just like, you can't feel the sand when you walk on the sand. Like, is that really a big deal? Like, can't they just not have it?
I don't think so.
No, if it's a big deal or not, it's irrelevant. That's a feature that you can't replicate with the PS4.
It's a big deal.
No, Brett, I'm saying it's irrelevant. Like, maybe it is a big deal, but the point is that's a feature you can't replicate with a DualShock 4. Therefore, you need a DualSense. Yeah, understand?
But it should be optional.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, how should be? Hold on, Brett. I'm sorry. So you just gotta. I'm sorry, Brett. You're gonna go next. Adam. Okay. dude, when I bought a PS4, I wasn't mad that my PS3 controllers didn't work. I wasn't mad that my, you know what I'm saying? Like when you buy a new system, you buy new controllers. That's how it is.
We're brainwashed to do that, but we
brainwashed. What the? That's the way it's always been. You know, you want to use your controllers.
Yeah, not have to be that way. You don't do that on a PC.
That makes no fun. Then you're gonna hold games back because you can't put new features on a controller. Then that's what you want.
Just like we have different settings. Same thing. Just be like, hey, controller settings. What are you using? Are you using
go ahead, Brett. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead, Brett.
Okay, developers develop for the floor, not the ceiling. Anytime you come out with something that doesn't have to be done, developers are lazy assholes who want to fucking save money, and that feature ends up getting dissolved. And if that's a hardware feature, eventually it gets fucking retired. Why do you think, other than the fact that it was kind of stupid, the touchpad never really caught on? Because you didn't have the option. You had the option to not use it. Most games decided to kind of not use it, and because it was cross-generation. So they designed it for the PS3 and then gave it the bump for the PS4 and didn't really do anything except throw in half-baked features for the touchpad when they actually could have really used it for some pretty cool ideas. If you give people a bottom floor to develop against, they're going to do it. That's why I'm so pissed that Xbox games... hold on, I'm not done.
Well, let Brett finish. Let Brett finish.
That's why I'm pissed off that Xbox is releasing all of their supposedly all of their games on, will still be available and playable on Xbox One, because now they're going to develop for Xbox One. If they took this feature, or if they let this feature be optional, nobody would fucking develop for it. One of Sony's big sticking points on one of their only advances of the system, other than making it shinier, is the controller, right? So if you just let the developers not develop for that fucking controller, they're not going to, and whoop, there goes Sony's big fucking lead, or whatever you have, their big advantage. There is a reason for this, and it will hold back games, not because people won't buy them or will buy them, but because people will fucking buy them regardless of whether or not that little extra hardware feature is there. And Sony wants to really highlight it, so they're not going to let developers get away with not doing anything with it. That's what this whole thing's about. I'm not saying I like it.
About money.
$60, man. You're already dropping $400 to $500. It's another controller. Like it's cool if you want to have your PS4 controller on back for like a second player or something like that. And for some games that are probably across both systems, they'll let that happen. But really, the idea of being able to use last generation's controller this generation is the exception rather than the rule. And honestly, I'm glad they're not having it because, like I said, I want them to develop this DualSense stuff. I want it to feel like I'm walking on sand. I don't want to feel just an enhanced rumble feature from fucking last gen. Quit building off of poor foundations. It's the shit you guys always yell about every Elder Scrolls game. Oh, it's just built on the back of something ugly and stupid and polished. That's all we're doing with video game hardware right now. We're trying to push something forward. And again, who's going to fucking do it optionally? Name one company that's just going to, other than CD Projekt Red, who's just going to spend money to give their customers just a little bit of a better experience. None, because they're fucking businesses run for profits and owned by shareholders. They don't give a shit about you.
Options. We always talk about options. We love options. We all love options. This is an option. Why not just have a damn option? You want to say, oh, well, the developers won't develop for it. Then fucking Sony can force all this shit. We've seen it before. They force certain options. Oh, you have to have share. You have to have photo mode. All this stuff. Same thing. Just have it as an option. They're taking away the option because they want to make money. They don't want you to use your shit. They want you to buy the new controller. That's all it is. And that's bullshit.
I don't have a problem with it. I agree. By the way, quickly, Brett, I agree with everything you just said. Like, you're going to be holding games back. You're going to be holding games back by doing that shit.
Whatever, but still, Microsoft's controller will have a different button that the current Gen 1 does not have, and it's still going to support your current controllers.
Yeah, and nobody's going to use that fucking button.
But Brett, what you're saying is based on your ideal. Even though that
I'm saying is based off of...
No, Brett. What you're saying is like you are wanting these developers to use these features well, and that's an ideal because we live in a world where the PS4 came out with the touchpad, and we've seen pretty much no games use it well, even exclusive games use it well, and that's the issue. It's like we have lived through a generation where they've had a new feature on a new controller that people were thought that they're going to use well and make things better, but they didn't. So hence, it was pointless. And we're going to do the same thing again next generation. And that's the thing that I'm like, hey, we've already gone through this. We're going to do it again. So why is everyone getting all on arms that, oh, you can't use the old controller? And that's a good thing. It's like, they're not going to utilize those features. That's what I'm saying. Like, they're not going to use those features. We all know
What are you
that.
basing this on? The touchpad?
On this generation that just went now, the PS4
Okay.
touchpad.
Anything other than that?
Well, what else do you have to go on?
Well, I have the fact that
that
the
is-
entire 360
that is the
generation, they
perfect example.
developed exactly for the underpowered system for this exact
But I'm
reason.
talking about the controller, Brett. Like, we
Okay,
have
so
an example of a
controller-
PlayStation controller with a new feature that came out for that generation, which was underutilized and made pretty much pointless after the first year or so.
Exactly. Thank you for proving my point. It was underutilized because it was optional at launch and nobody
No,
used it.
it was
because all the pros
underutilized because they forced it on everyone. No one wanted to make it. Like, no one wanted to add stuff for it, and that's the problem. It's like,
exactly. You have to make
force it, and people won't make it. Like they did. Fucking Microsoft did it with the Kinect.
PlayStation has a track record.
remember Lair? Does anyone
Oh, yeah,
remember Lair?
the
That used the
six-axis.
six-axis thing,
Yeah, yeah.
Jake, and everyone hated it because it was just forced in nonsense. We're
PlayStation.
doing the same thing again for the third time. But again, PS3, it was the six-axis stuff. And now we've gone through the touchpad, and next it'll be the DualSense hot and cold nonsense. It's just the same thing repeating, and I don't know why no one wants to see this.
The hot and cold stuff is a hip hop.
That's a hip hop
Okay.
gamer thing.
What else is it?
But
The rumble, which is like, oh, it rumbles slightly differently. It's either like it's variable rumble. What else is there?
Microsoft had that on theirs. Remember that special rumble system, and that
No, man, I know.
no one
They
gave a
want-
shit.
The adaptive triggers are input only. Like, they won't really make that much of a difference, and I'm pretty sure that most people won't even care, because what developers will find is that, again, the Joe Blow consumer will just pull the thing like it's any other thing, and hence they'll be like, oh, so what's the point of making it if no one that plays the game actually cares about these features? And then
Like the
it's
HD
gone.
rumble, that HD rumble that Nintendo has.
PlayStation.
Yeah, like,
I mean,
oh yeah,
PlayStation
you can like
forgot to
rumble your
use-
controller and it sounds like a glass in a cup thing. How many games have you seen do that? None. Again, this is the thing this is why I'm so confused as to why everyone's like, oh, they won't utilize the features. It's like, developers won't utilize the features. So hence, you're essentially saying that you're happy for them to omit this perfectly good controller, which for the most part can actually work. And by Sony's standards themselves have proven that it's worked because it works for PS4 games, and have it not work for PS5 games simply because it won't have the DualSense, like 2-3 small features that for the most part won't change the game.
I mean,
And that's the thing I'm
the same
confused
argument for
about.
buying a shitty pair of headphones, man. Like, yeah, you can get the base experience, but you're gonna lose out in certain notes and certain.
The DualShock's not a third party. It's a very good.
It's a first
Controller.
party. Like,
Yeah,
But again, you're
And it
buying a new
works.
system, you get new controllers. That's the way it's always been. Now it's suddenly a problem.
But if you, we just talked about a 4-player game, right? We're talking about.
Then buy,
four-player
Adam, you know how many
If
you know how many
get a new system-
PS4 controllers I own?
Wait. But listen. Yeah, you own. Listen, hear this. Let's say you get a sport game, right? You get this NBA game that comes out, right? Supports 4 players. You want to play with your buddies. You just got this new system. You only have one controller. Maybe you bought a second one. No one runs out and buys 4 fucking controllers.
No,
at
you
once.
have your
They say,
boys
hey,
bring their
can I use
controllers
your
over.
controller?
Remember,
They
we used to
will
do
if you're
that.
playing a 4-player
Can
game.
I play these
Yeah.
over there?
Yeah, you have your boys bring their controllers over. There you go, problem
But
solved.
they don't have it. If they don't have
Well,
it,
you know
just
what? That's the
bought it.
fucking problem then. You know?
Hey, Adam,
You're the first
Hey,
friend
Adam.
in your group.
Adam. I bought extra Wii controllers when I got the Wii. I bought a total of 4 pairs, up to some as
Not a lot of, I don't know anybody that buys 4. In fact,
I do.
You're the only person I know that buys 4
I
pairs.
own like 6 DualShock 4 controllers, bro.
No, we're talking about the Switch ones. He just
Yeah.
said with the Switch.
Oh
He
no,
bought
no,
4.
the Wii.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the one I got when it launched, and I've got 2 extra pairs, I want to say. So I can break down into a 4-player game, and I have an extra set in case I get the drift problem. So I actually, when I was buying games that I realized were 4-player games like Smash Brothers and Mario Kart, I accounted for the fact that I might have other players playing with me and bought that amount of controllers. Or you have your friends bring their controllers.
Yeah, we lost
Yeah,
somebody.
Manny,
Oh.
Manny.
I was like, what the fuck? Oh, there he is. He's back.
So from my perspective,
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the middle. I'm probably more leaning towards Brian, and maybe, I don't know, Chris, are you part of this faction?
Oh well, I agreed with. I was seeing both arguments. I understand where Tony's coming from. I was agreeing with Brian in that he's right that they have to purposely, at the OS level, tell the DualShock 4 not to work with the game, so that they are doing that on purpose. But I agree with the reason. Like, I mean, from a business reason, I said that makes sense. You know, I'm not saying from is it morally right or ethically right? What's to say? Because I mean, look at that. Nobody complained that you can use a Genesis controller with the Saturn, and they both had
Thank you.
9-pin connector.
Thank you.
It's just that's
Why
just
are the third party ones working then? Why are the fight sticks working?
Well,
why are the racing wheels working?
For some
so
games.
Here's my thing. It's like I understand why the business decision. I understand, but I don't understand why they can just make it compatible and only work for the games that it can work on. If there's a new game like Godfall or Miles Morales that has certain features that only work on a DualSense, then that's pretty fine. If you don't have a DualSense, then you can't play the game.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, and I'm with you. But if you want to have, if the compatibility, the interface to have your DualShock 4 with the PlayStation 5 is not. They already have the drivers for that shit. They have everything so you can use it for whatever, just in case maybe you just can afford the console, video game, and that's it. It's like, man, I want to play with my little brother. He want to play freaking Miles Morales. I don't know, maybe he has multiplayer. I don't know, but we can't afford another controller until freaking Christmas. Well, just try the DualShock. You can go by then.
All right, Carlos, let me ask you a question. Do you think games that are developed for both systems are as good as exclusives?
Depends on the game. I mean, there's a lot of games that are better than exclusives. There's a lot of exclusives that are better.
In general. Would you not say exclusives are of a higher caliber and quality?
Yes, because they know what hardware they're using, so they can utilize it to
take advantage of that hardware instead of having to program for multiple hardware possibilities, which they don't take the time to do.
I know where you're going. I know where you're going with this, Brett. And no, it doesn't work here. It's like, yeah, if
they already have it, it's already there. It's nothing new.
No, no. What Brett's gonna say is that having compatibility with the DualShock 4 is gonna hold back the features of the DualSense.
No. Okay, here I wasn't done. The reason you see these racing wheels and these other things that are still going to be compatible is because the people who developed the game took the time to write the code to make that compatible. Right? Like, I don't.
And that's third party. So you're telling me that they do a better job than first party in compatibility? That's why. Come on.
Does every arcade game have fight stick compatibility?
Pretty much, yeah. You could use it. In fact, I can use my fight stick to play non-fighting games. I use my Guitar Hero guitar on my Xbox One to play fucking Gears.
Yeah. Anyway, does anybody have anything new to add to this? I want to move on already.
Yes.
I mean, I can understand both sides of this thing, and I it's the same sort of thing. They want you. The plain and simple is they just want you to get the new one. That's about it, you know.
Yeah, Riku, go ahead, man.
Okay. I think the only reason people are mad about it this generation, in comparison to every generation, this hasn't really been the case unless you want to look at some Nintendo controllers like the GameCube, which they don't want to let die. But the only difference this time is that Xbox is allowing people to use their Xbox One controllers on the Xbox Series X. So
wasn't that news released after this was announced? Because I didn't see it until after.
No, it wasn't. It was. They said it, but not a lot of people. They didn't really touch upon it, but they reminded people that you could do it. Kind of like when
Xbox was being mad petty about that, because the thing is they already announced that their old controllers would work with Xbox Series X, but after Sony made this announcement, Xbox said, "Oh, by the way, remember, guys,
I think assume that they would work. People just don't. They would work. Why wouldn't it work? I thought we were past that. We're already
but that's what Xbox is doing. Sony ain't doing that. Sony ain't doing that.
Didn't Sony do the same thing when they announced that you couldn't? When Xbox had the idea that you couldn't you couldn't share the used games.
Oh yeah, every company does that.
I was
shit.
just about to say that.
Every company does that.
And did you call them petty for that? Because I don't know.
They were petty. They were petty as fuck. But hey, it works. Just like I
Well,
give Xbox props for this. Listen, hey, they got something on PlayStation to some fans. So that even though it's petty, I give them props for that. That's a smart business move. Go ahead, Riku.
I'm sorry, my train of thought.
You were talking about how people are mad about this because Xbox is allowing their old controllers to be used on their new system.
Yeah, it was. I think people, when it comes to that, people were, they see that they can do it on Xbox, so they were expecting Sony to quote unquote get with the times and allow them to do it as well. And when Sony was like,
I'm sorry, stop being fucking cheap. Just buy another controller. End of the discussion.
It's not just being cheap. It's okay to get 1 or 2, but when we're talking about launch for 4, that's crazy talk.
Who's gonna buy 4 controllers on launch?
What games are launching with 4 players?
Sport game. We were talking about the basketball. That was the example I gave. If I just got the new console and I got 2 controllers, I'd never buy 4 at launch. If I just get 2, and then I had some people come over and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna hang out."
Who's gonna come over during the Rona, man? Come on, son.
You know what I'm talking? Then what? Then
God, it's fucking bullshit. What the fuck's coming over your house right now?
You said, Tony, you said you have a shitload of these controllers.
Yeah,
said,
I didn't buy them from other people. I bought them for myself.
But not at launch. This is what I'm saying. At launch,
actually, I did have 3 controllers by launch, though. To be honest,
a lot of people that do have it, right? Or if they have their system, they only have 2 controllers. They'll buy 1 and 2 for another person. They don't have 4.
Okay.
So those sports games are available at launch, right?
Yeah. So Buddy comes over. We still don't know all the games that are available for launch.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're arguing about a game that may or may not exist and may or may not have 4-player.
I'm talking about basketball games. All the sport games always have.
Yeah, but you're saying you're not going to buy 4 controllers at launch when these games. We don't even know these games are going to
be.
No one's
going to do that. Here's the thing. You're going to get. Chris, real quick. You're going to get one controller regardless, and you're probably going to buy another one. So you're going to have 2 no matter what.
Buy another one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So what the fuck's the problem?
No, because we were talking about 4. We weren't talking.
That's hypothetical shit, though, man. Come on,
Adam. I didn't bring it up. You brought it up.
Who's
playing any game like that in local co-op?
They don't exist.
If we play Division, I'm not like, hey, I'm coming over.
You can't even do that.
You were talking about how everything has gone online. He was like, I remember when we could play all these 4 players together. So then that's when it came up. I didn't say I was going to do it because I told you I don't do that.
Yeah. No, but the thing is, if you're playing with your buddies online, they're going to have PlayStation 5s with the DualSense control that comes with the system. So it's not even a problem.
So we're just talking about people in a house.
Yeah, so you have 4 people just come into your house right now?
So if, let's say they couldn't get one. Let's say there was a shortage. We've seen that with the PS3, remember? There was a shortage for the controllers for a little while, right? So if it's those situations, then obviously you couldn't use a PS2, whatever. And that's it.
It'll be like old consoles, too fucking bad.
If there was a shortage and you didn't get, all you can get was the one that came with your console, and you're just going to have to suck it up for a while.
Yeah, just suck it up. Listen, we've had to deal with this every console generation. Why is this new all of a sudden?
Adam,
why are you accept it?
Because that's the way it is. Why are you buying new hardware to play on old shit? It doesn't make any fucking sense.
That's the way it should be.
No, but that's the yes, it is should be that way.
Okay,
otherwise, what the hell? Whoa, go ahead.
Adam, your point seems to be that who wants to drop all of this money at launch?
No,
and I get that. It's
not even my point. That's not my point. That's not about it. My point is, why should I have to? It's not, I need to. It's why. If I have all these other controllers laying around now, because I have like 5 or 6.
Brett just explained why. Because you don't want to play old fucking hardware to slow down your fucking current shit. That's going to hold it back.
Controller.
It still matters. Hold on, Adam. Do you think that rumble in a controller doesn't matter? It has been one of the biggest fucking selling points and leap forward in technology of new generations for the life of the last 20 years.
Hold on, and Brett, I'm gonna. No. Brett, I'm gonna amplify what you said. You know the reason why a lot of games are the same fucking way? Because controllers haven't changed in 20 fucking years. That's why. Dude,
Adam, no, you can't. Okay. The N64 Rumble Pack fucking changed the game. When PlayStation put Rumble in their things, it changed the fucking game.
All right, you know what? This is getting nowhere. Adam doesn't want to hear anymore.
Just trolling now.
Yeah, he's just trolling. All right, let's move on. This is getting stupid. I'm getting fucking pissed off.